Hi, I'm Emma, and I will be talking about how to write a data sharing agreement between collaborators. The learning objectives of this RDMbite are to understand what data sharing is, to understand what a data sharing agreement is, to know what areas need to be considered when creating an agreement, and finally, know where to share, store, and maintain the agreement. Sharing data means making your data findable by other people. You can share your data with collaboration partners in the context of a collaborative research project, or you can publish your data to share it with the global research community and society at large. It's important to know that data sharing doesn't necessarily mean freely available in the context of open data or public data. You can choose who you share your data with by applying restricted access or even closed access. Data sharing can be done at any time during the research data lifecycle, but at the latest, data should be made available at the time of publication of articles that use the data to make scientific conclusions. If data cannot be shared openly, it is best practice to provide detailed instructions as to how to request access as part of the metadata. What is most important is that you make your data fair, so findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. We deal with the FAIR principles in other RDMbites. A data sharing agreement is a set of guidelines that is decided collaboratively to facilitate the sharing of data within a research project. The guidelines will be dependent on the type of data the project is using, the organisations that are involved, and what country the researchers and the organisations are based in. Data sharing agreements set out the purpose of the data sharing, cover what happens to the data at each stage, set standards, and help all the parties involved in sharing to be clear about their roles and responsibilities. A data sharing agreement helps to demonstrate that you are meeting legal requirements for data sharing, such as the General Data Protection Regulation, otherwise known as the UK GDPR, the common law duty of confidentiality, and other data protection laws. When drawing up a data sharing agreement, as well as agreeing how data is to be shared within the research project with the project partners, it's important to consider how data is to be shared more widely and published. This is the step that is often not considered carefully enough to enable sustainability of data. It is best practice to publish and share data in line with the FAIR principles, and how to do this needs to be agreed at an early stage so that it is within the data sharing agreement. More information about data sharing agreements and some examples can be found in the supplement links accompanying this video. If you're part of a collaborative research project, it is recommended to plan and establish the following in advance. What repositories and sharing services are going to be used to allow controlled access? During the research project, you will need to share and work on your preliminary data within the project and with all partners involved. You also need to consider what storage solutions will you use to guarantee different levels of access to data, such as shared, controlled, and secure access, and secure data transfer between project partners. When you are preparing data for publication, it is a good idea to, if possible, deposit your data to a public repository as early as possible. This saves a lot of trouble later on in the project, such as ensuring datasets are curated early on in line with publication and community standards. Data in repositories can be put under embargo until you want to release it, for example, at the time of article publication. It is also a good idea to consider where and how you will deposit data that is deemed sensitive data. Can it be made available by anonymization or restricted access? How are you going to achieve this? For more information on dealing with sensitive data, see our RDMbites on sensitive data introduction and anonymization and pseudonymization. And finally, when depositing data for publication and long-term storage, you also need to consider the use of common data organization, data formats, standards, data documentation, and metadata. For each of these considerations, please see other RDMbites in this collection. Once the data sharing agreement is agreed and signed by all project partners, give the whole research team access to the agreement. Make sure that a read-only file is placed in the sharing facility in use. Provide training on the different aspects of the sharing agreement and make sure that it becomes part of onboarding of new team members. This will include data security training and also specific training on any tools that are being used for sharing, such as GitHub and data safe havens. The data sharing agreement must be reviewed throughout the project. This is to check that the data sharing agreement is working as expected, and also to make sure that the research team are working in line with the agreement. For more information about data sharing agreements and some example templates to get you started, please see the links to additional resources alongside this video.